Recently, I spent about a month in Poland with my family, and I filmed a few videos while we were here, giving some thoughts on various things that came to mind about culture and about law that came to mind as we viewed all the historical sites and some of the more modern sites here in Poland. Hello, my name is Nicholas Wansper. I'm a lawyer from Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. At the time that you'll be viewing this, I'll be back in Canada, but as of the time of filming, I'm in Warsaw, Poland. Warsaw, of course, being the capital of Poland, and I'm standing in front of what is the Polish equivalent of the Supreme Court. Interestingly, there's also a prison on the top level. From locals I've spoken to, I get the impression that this may just be a superior court for criminal matters, and that's why they have the jail on top, but this is the final level of appeal here. Now, interestingly, in Canada, at least in Ontario, criminal lawyers are really considered second-class lawyers. They're not even real lawyers among the legal community. Very low prestige, even among non-lawyers, is my perception. In Poland, criminal lawyers are considered the top of lawyers. Those are the lawyers of lawyers, are criminal lawyers. So a more prestigious position. Now, as I consider the Polish courts, it reminds me of the fact that juries are only a right in English-speaking countries. The jury trial is part of our British heritage. It's something that arose in England. And in Poland, you don't have the right to a jury trial. You'd have a trial with either one or a panel of judges. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of these things we take for granted, or we think that everyone has a right to a jury trial, but that's not the case. And I think jury trials are something to be thankful that we have. I think it's something important to true justice, to have that ability to be judged by a group of your peers, not always by a more elite, sometimes detached individual such as a judge. Another interesting note of Polish law and a difference between Canada and Poland is that, at least on paper, the police can ask you to show identification at any time, even as you're walking around. So I'm carrying my passport with me at all times, just in case. Now, from friends and locals I've spoken to, apparently the police never actually check anyone's ID. But again, that's an interesting difference, because in Canada, police cannot stop you and demand ID. You have the right to just walk away from them if you're on foot. Now, if you're doing a licensed activity, it's different. So if you're hunting, fishing, or driving a motor vehicle, then they can stop and ask for your license for that. A final thought on today's episode is, of course, being in a very historical place. I mean, Poland has been a country for over 1,000 years versus Canada that's only been a country for a little over 250 years. There's a lot of history and culture that you see, and in my view, the Supreme Court here is quite an ugly modern building. It wasn't even here 20 years ago. It was built within the last 20 years. That used to be a lovely park and forest back there. Now they have this court, but it's right across the street from Krashinsky Palace, which is a lovely building of the past. It demonstrates in a very clear way, another thing that I speak on this channel about a lot, is that law comes from the culture. Politics come from the culture, and the law comes from the politics. An ugly culture is going to give you ugly laws. A beautiful culture is going to give you beautiful laws. The same thing happens with architecture. And the ugly souls of modern man give you these modern monstrosities. Whereas the souls of the past that weren't perfect, humans are humans, people were still had many failings, but at least at a certain level, they loved God and they aspired to something better, and that's reflected in the architecture, also reflected in the laws. Now, we're the beneficiaries of those laws, some fumes still being in the tank from those laws, but we're losing it more and more all the time. And that's unfortunately been a topic of many episodes of Don't Talk TV, of how we're losing the good laws that we had that come to us from the past. So as I said in the preamble, this is the first video of several. I'll be filming others. There's a number of topics I have in mind. There's a number of other places that I'll be visiting that I'm sure will bring up other topics. So I hope you enjoyed this video, but of course it's not legal advice. If you need legal advice, call a lawyer. You can call another lawyer or myself. My website and phone number are listed below. If there's show topics you'd like to hear about from me, please send an email to the email address listed below or leave a comment in the comment section. And if you found this video at all interesting, helpful, or informative, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and following us on social media.